Infinix is an up-and-coming smartphone manufacturer that is getting more and more traction lately, and they've now released their first 5G phone, the Infinix Zero 5G. It's not just about the next-gen connectivity, this phone also brings some other interesting features too. I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's see what the Infinix Zero 5G is all about in our full review. The Infinix Zero 5G is a budget mid-ranger that brings an interesting design. The back is curved and quite glossy, and it slopes up to seamlessly meet the cameras. With its shiny finish, the back panel is a bit of a fingerprint magnet though. The material may look like glass, but the phone is actually made of plastic, and it feels like it too. There's even a bit of give to the surface if you press on it hard enough. The volume rocker is mushy and doesn't feel great, but the fingerprint reader / power button is clicky and quite responsive, waking up and unlocking the phone in an instant. The screen of the Infinix Zero 5G is a 6.78-inch IPS LCD with a 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The high refresh rate is adaptive, meaning that it can dial down depending on the content on screen to save power. Unfortunately, the high refresh rate doesn't really achieve its main purpose, which is to make movement on screen more fluid. This is because the display's pixel response time is sluggish and you often get ghosting and blurriness. With a pixel density of 388 ppi, this screen looks plenty sharp, but sadly it has no HDR support of any kind. Plus, the colors aren't very accurate at all. Everything trends bluish. And with no color profiles or tone and adjustment options available in settings, you can't do much about it either. Another issue is the max brightness. It goes up to around 500 nits in both manual and automatic mode, which may not be enough for good legibility when outside in the sun. For audio, the Infinix Zero 5G has a traditional headphone jack and a single bottom firing speaker. This speaker scored a good rating on our loudness charts, and its sound quality is okay, with decent sounding highs. The phone comes with 128 gigs of storage on board, and that is expandable via microSD card. And the Infinix Zero 5G runs XOS 10, which is based on Android 11, but features extensive customizations. It brings a ton of extra features, and plenty of pre-installed apps too. One difference from stock Android you'll notice immediately is that the standard notification shade is divided into a separate notification center and a control center. The home screen is really customizable too. You can choose from different swipe animations, and even set your own font color. There's always an app drawer, but you can also set the phone to organize your apps into large folders, or to keep them all on the home screen itself. You also get a dedicated game launcher, which lets you tune your gaming experience. The proprietary features are quite extensive and include things like an AI assistant, smart connectivity, a system-wide translator, and power-saving controls, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Behind all of these features is a MediaTek Dimensity 900 chipset built on a 6nm process. It provides both solid mid-range performance, which outclasses MediaTek's Helio G-series chips, as well as the phone's headlining 5G connectivity. Games run pretty well, and thermal throttling isn't an issue at all here. Battery life is great too. The Infinix Zero 5G has a large 5000 mAh battery, and was able to score an excellent endurance rating of 140 hours in our proprietary tests. Charging speed is nothing to write home about though, despite a decent-sized 33-watt adapter. With it, we were only able to charge the phone from 0 to 30% in half an hour. Now we come to the Infinix Zero 5G's cameras. There's a 48-megapixel quad Bayer main cam, a 13-megapixel telephoto cam with 2x optical zoom, and a depth sensor. The main cam captures 12-megapixel photos by default, and these are decent, but nothing too impressive. There's an average amount of detail, and fine patterns can display a moire effect. Colors are a bit dull too, while the dynamic range is limited. We also encountered a bug on our unit in which the main cam's photos would often come out with a magenta color cast. Shots from the 2x telephoto are quite different from the main cams. There's more fine detail here and a more pleasant color rendition. But there are issues here as well. This camera tends to overexpose shots, which is made worse by the somewhat limited dynamic range. And the autofocus isn't the most consistent either. The Infinix Zero 5G can shoot portraits with either the main or the telephoto camera. You'd think that the depth sensor here would help to provide great subject separation, but in reality it's only average, often getting tripped up by hair and busy backgrounds. The zoomed portraits don't come out very sharp either. In low light, photos from the main cam are surprisingly decent. There's an auto night mode that kicks in when it's dark, and the dynamic range isn't all that bad. You get enough sharpness and noise is under control. You can also toggle a super night mode, which improves things further, with better recovered shadows and highlights. Unsurprisingly, the telephoto cam struggles in low light. Shots come out quite soft and even sometimes blurry. Enabling super night mode will get you an overprocessed but more usable result. Selfies are taken with a 16 megapixel front-facing cam, and these are solid overall. The detail and colors are on point, and the dynamic range isn't too bad. The selfie cam is usable at night too, thanks in part to the phone's selfie dual LED flash. Videos can be captured with a main cam in up to 4K resolution at 30 FPS. This footage is solid in terms of detail and dynamic range, and there's low noise. The colors are noticeably off though. The zoom camera's videos are capped at 1080p resolution. Their color rendition is much better than the main cam's, and dynamic range is decently wide. There does seem to be too much sharpening though. There is electronic stabilization available for your video recording, but you're limited to 1080p. It works decently, eliminating most of the camera shake. So there you have it guys, the Infinix Zero 5G brings some clean looks, a large 120Hz LCD, a decent chipset with 5G connectivity, and excellent battery life. Plus you get a telephoto lens, which is not too common at this price. Its main shortcomings are the ghosting and the low max brightness of the screen, and the mediocre camera performance too. Plus it doesn't have the super aggressive pricing of other Infinix phones that we've reviewed lately. So in the end, unless you're dying for an Infinix phone with 5G support, the Zero 5G is tough to recommend. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and see you on the next one.